Hey everyone, we are so glad you joined us for another episode on the Lipedema channel. This is where you can find inspiring stories of women who are managing their condition effectively and teaching us a lot along the way. And I love this woman's handle, Legs Like Mine. Susan O'Hara, it's so great to have you here today.
Oh, hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's absolutely a pleasure. So where did you get the handle or come up with the handle Legs Like Mine?
Yeah, absolutely. So about a year ago now, I started figuring out that I had more than lymphedema, which, it took me a long time to even figure that out. And I can tell you about that in a minute. But I stumbled across lipedema and started joining some of the support groups and Facebook groups and stuff like that. And as I was posting pictures of my pretty advanced calves, especially, I would get messages from women and we all started comparing notes and we're like, I've never known anybody that had legs that look like mine. Oh my gosh, you're my leg twin. Your legs look like mine. And so I thought, I need to share this with people because if without the internet, I never would have known that other people existed whose legs looked exactly like mine. So that's how it came up with is like, oh my gosh, you have legs like mine. It's okay. I'm not alone.
I love it. I love your energy too. You have one of the best smiles I have ever seen. It lights
Oh,
up the whole screen. So your mission to just connect has actually grown into a business.
a little bit, yeah. And so, of course, I have a regular job that I've been working with the government now for 25 years. But what has happened is I get 1,000 messages a day still since my first surgery now. So for a couple of months, I've been blogging and vlogging, and people ask me, can you give me a recommendation for this product or that product? And so I started doing affiliate links in my blog posts, and that does help, defray some of the costs of like the website and stuff like that. But my longer term plans, Brenda, are to actually turn what I'm doing into some continuing education hours for doctors. I'm not medical at all. Of course, just like many of us, there's nothing that compares to a woman who's trying to figure out what's wrong with her, right? So we're all the best researchers in the world. But I plan to build continuing education credits for doctors from a patient perspective and start building some classes that I can share with doctors. And hopefully, when I retire from my government position, turn that into a job that really matters to a lot of people. And I'll just share a little bit more. What I hear, and I don't know if it's really true, is that doctors only receive about an hour of training in lymphatics in their education as they're going through their medical practice if they're not a specialist. And so it's really important for them to understand a little bit more about the lymphatics, what it looks like when someone has had a serious issue that's gone undiagnosed and untreated for a while, but also from the patient perspective, what happens when a patient can't find treatment and has a doctor who sort of blows them off from a psychological perspective, the impact of not being listened to and stuff like that. So that's where I really want to take Legs Like Mine in the future.
I love that vision. And until you get there, it's still a wealth of information and resources. I love how you share your personal stories and your background, your surgeries. We want to get into all of that, but let's go way back to first your lymphedema diagnosis. When did that occur?
Mhm. Yeah, so I have always been a bigger girl, and I had a polycystic ovary disease, and it took me like just like lipedema and lymphedema, 8 years of going to doctors before we figured out like why am I not getting pregnant. So I finally found the right doctor who put me on fertility shots, and I went into the hospital, for a normal delivery. And when I had a very rough delivery, almost died, that kind of thing, I had to have a surgery like on the table to save my life. Right. And when I left the hospital, my left leg was bigger than my right leg pretty significantly. Right. So I went like that for 14 years. And my leg was getting worse and worse and worse, and had been to the doctor trying to figure out what was wrong. um, about 4 years ago, I started having tendonitis in my leg, and I'm a Girl Scout leader, and I like to travel with my girls a lot, right? So I was taking my girls to New York City, and it was going to be a big walking trip. So I was like, I need to get this tendonitis under control. Went to a foot doctor. The foot doctor sent me to a brace specialist to make a special brace that would fit my leg. And the lady just walks in and she goes, "Who's treating your lymphedema?" And I was like, "My what?" I mean, and it was just like that. And I'm not kidding you. I had been in for MRIs, two MRIs, X-rays, multiple things trying to figure out why is this leg so large. And I'm in Oklahoma City, and of course, we have hospitals and stuff just like everyone else. But it took walking into a specialty brace company to somebody that was just a regular worker who was like, "Yeah, that's lymphedema." And so that's what started it. And I took it to my doctor and I was like, "I need treatment immediately," and then I was able to make connection with a certified lymphedema therapist and all that stuff, and then it all started from there.
That's an amazing story. So, is it the doctor's opinion that the surgery triggered the lymphedema? Was it primary or was it secondary?
It's so what's really funny is I've never had a doctor tell me why, but I've always told the story of, I had this surgery in a spot where there were a lot of lymph nodes that was on the table. It was emergency. I mean, I think there were 5 people in there holding pressure. I remember, in fact,
Oh,
Brenda, the doctor, when I was delivering the baby, a nurse walked in and he said, "Oh, I need you to come in here and hold pressure." And she goes, "Let me wash my hands." And he goes, "I didn't say wash your hands. It said get in here and hold pressure." So I think that
whoa.
emergency surgery. So it's always been me telling the doctors I have secondary lymphedema from that traumatic childbirth experience. And they've always just believed me.
It's so
So what can you do?
interesting. Yeah, well, we are finding that sometimes the lymphedema is latent, it's there, and then a triggering
Mhm,
event will cause it to present. So, whether it's primary or secondary, though, bottom line is you decided, I'm going to manage this thing. You found a certified lymphedema therapist. And did you
mhm.
start incorporating tools in your toolbox about how to manage your condition effectively?
I did, and so I'm a super busy mom, just like many of you, of course. I went to the therapist and she told me, "Okay, Susan, you need to buy all these non-stretch bandages. I'm gonna wrap you." And I was like, so my therapist name is Brenda, incidentally, right? And I said, "Brenda, I can't do that. I travel all the time. These wraps, they fall down. They're not working for me, And I do have a compression pump, a different branded compression pump that I started using as well. And so what we decided for me, what worked best for me was to wear some compression. And she started me out with compression socks, and then, I bought these Velcro compression wraps that you pull up your leg and then you tighten them. And as your leg gets smaller and smaller and smaller, you can make them tighter and tighter and tighter. And I can wear those like under my maxi dresses. I can wear them on the airplane and stuff like that. It fits my lifestyle a lot better. I also started water aerobics and doing all kinds of swimming activities with the little senior citizens. I love them so much, and they're so kind. They don't care what you look like in your bathing suit, right? So, yeah, I started doing those kinds of things. But at that time, Brenda, I still thought I only had lymphedema up until about last year. So I went for about 3 years getting some conservative treatments, and then finally getting to the CLT. And it's all built up and it's based on what I've learned from other women on the internet is how I finally discovered that I've got lipedema, which is a whole different story.
So then did you begin connecting with people to help you manage the lipedema? And then again, you decided to go have surgery, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the minute I found
That's
out
a
that it was
huge
something that
decision, especially for someone who had a kind of a difficult and scary surgical experience many years before. So, what made you
Mhm,
decide to go the surgery route? And by the way, we are never offering medical advice here, but we share people's
right.
stories because in Susan's story, you may find something that sparks an interest in you, and you can do your own research and seek your own medical attention. But I'm
Mhm.
fascinated and already inspired by you. So tell us how you came to the decision for surgery.
Right. So I'm going to backtrack just a little tiny bit.
Sure.
Over the course of the last 14 years, I had a lap band. I decided, okay, I need to lose some weight. I lost 171 pounds and decided I was going to um, get super healthy. I did a marathon, and a walking marathon, right? So I was walking 14 miles a day. I went an entire year without eating a carb. I was pretty mean, and that's not who I am, right? I didn't eat any bread, rice, pasta, sweets, or anything. And I have a picture of my legs on the beach where my calves are significantly larger than my thighs, even when I was at as thin as I could get, you know? So I remember back to that time, and it really does, it sort of validates the fact that I really have something going on here. It's not just metabolic obesity, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. And sometimes I pull that picture up on my page to share with other women, right? Um, so I got with Dr. Schwartz from getting on the boards and learning that there were people who were actually offering treatment. I thought that it was just hopeless, and I'm just going to say that for me, the conservative measures really weren't working, and my leg was really advanced, both of them. My calves on a normal day when I wasn't swelling were 26 inches each, which is bigger than a lot of people's waists, right? And I was to the point where I was calling myself, and I'm not a negative person in general, but I felt like sort of a deformed person. Like I didn't want to wear shorts. I'm very active. I like to be in the public and the community and stuff like that. I just wore jeans all the time. And in this Oklahoma heat, you need to be able to wear some shorts and feel good about yourself, you know? So the minute that I heard, hey, somebody's doing treatment, I mean, I got on. First, I met with another doctor in Dallas who said he would do surgery, but he was like, I'm not willing to do a higher BMI person. And for me, he wanted me to try and lose 100 pounds before I met with him. And I ultimately decided, you know what, I don't think this doctor's for me. He had a great reputation and all that stuff, but I just didn't feel like I could do it. So I scheduled with Dr. Jaime Schwartz, and he was willing to take my case. One, knowing that I was a higher BMI person who didn't feel like I could lose the weight, and two, I have this history of what my childbirth experience was from a blood clot, and he was willing to take me even with that history of a significant blood clot, right? I mean, the day I found out he was there and he was willing to meet with me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, "Yes, get this junk off of my legs." So, for me, it was just no big deal at all. Like, I have to do this, you know?
So you must love hearing the stories from people like Pale Ginger Pear, who has been on a surgery journey. And she says, I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm so transformed. So what was your surgery experience like? What were your legs like? What were your calves like after the surgery?
After the first surgery. So I've had 2 surgeries now, and I have to tell you, I'm on day 10 of recovery from my second surgery right now too. So, the first surgery, oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. They're so nice. And honestly, so I went in for pre-op. We were having a big blizzard here in Oklahoma City when it happened, and I decided to leave a couple of days early because it was that important that I don't miss my flight, you know? They were so nice to me, and I've never had a doctor in my life tell me, "Susan, this is not your fault." And that's the first thing he told me. He was like, "Susan, you didn't cause this. You know, this is an actual disease. There's a biomarker for it now, genetic biomarker for it now. We know it's a real thing." And it just made me feel like I remember going back to my hotel and I was like, "Oh, was this real?" You know what I mean? Like, and so he was like, "We got you covered." And I remember also asking Jamie, I was like, "Jamie, um, am I your worst case ever? You know, can you handle somebody as big as me? Can you handle somebody that I have a lap band port? Can you work around my lap band port?" He was like, "Susan, I see people in all kinds of conditions, and you're not even close to the worst that I've ever seen." And he was like, "I totally have you." So his level of confidence and everything made me just feel like, all right, let's do this, you know? So you go into surgery day, it's fun, they've got music playing, they're just so upbeat. The girls, and he has an all-female staff in his office. They're all so professional, they're well-oiled, they know what they're doing. At no point in time did they give me any time to start getting all worked up and worried. I just went in, it was a great experience, and when I woke up, they were putting compression on me, you know, and it seems like I was just barely in recovery whenever, my recovery center came to get me, you know, just so well oiled. Great experience, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So clearly, did he tell you from the get-go it's going to be more than one surgery?
Oh yeah. Yeah, whenever he wrote my letter of medical necessity, he approved me for 8 with Aetna. And I honestly believe, so I'm 2 in right now. I'm never going to be, I don't want to be a small person with tiny little legs that don't match the rest of my body. But I do want to not have pain, and I want my, one of the big deals is that my knees were dislocating pretty regularly, 7 or 8 times a day they were dislocating, and it really hurts when they pop out. And so I wanted to get that taken care of. And those things have stopped. But he did tell me, he really wants to do the tummy, which, I mean, I have a little tummy roll like a lot of moms do, right? But he said he thinks that that will help release some of the pressure off of my lymphatics and overall improve the overall health. So I'm willing to do that if I think it will, help me stop from swelling and stuff so much too. So it could be as many as 8. I'm hoping for 4 because the recovery's a lot. It is. It's a big deal.
Last night we had our lipedema patient roundtable and we talked about usable time. Now, here you are, you're a busy professional in
Hmm.
the public sector. You're a mom and you're
Hmm.
managing lymphedema and lipedema. How do you juggle it all?
Right. Yeah. So I do some pretty kooky things. I don't do dry brushing because that's a time thing. I do enjoy a warm Epsom salt bath, and see that's just part of my regular routine. Take a bath. My therapist, Brenda, also she said, you can do your manual lymphatic drainage in the shower in the mornings whenever you're getting ready, and so that's what I do. Is I put my conditioner in my hair, and then while it's conditioning, I go through the process. I get a little soap and it's kind of my washing too. I start and I do all the lymphatic drainage things while I'm just waiting for my hair to condition. So it adds 3 minutes to my shower. And then the way I do my compression pump is at nighttime, I put it on, and I don't know if I'm breaking rules or not, but this is what I do. I go to bed. And whenever I hear the pump stop, I'll wake up and I'll take it off. You know what I mean? And again, I don't know if I'm breaking rules, but it fits into my schedule. And I'm weird, which is so weird,
You are
Brenda, is
not
that
weird. You are already offering great wisdom. And by the way, we are going to talk about the LymphaPress and getting you to try that because the ease of use, and there's an auto shut off so that you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to try, so there's some
right?
easy tools that are available through the LymphaPress as well. You've been smart about incorporating managing your condition and living life still. And so
Hmm.
if there was someone out there watching and they're feeling overwhelmed, what would you say
Hmm.
to them? How would you encourage them?
Yeah, absolutely. Do what you can. Compression is like the one of the most important things you can do. I'm having to change my professional business outfits now to incorporate compression. I'm hot. I'm going through menopause. I don't want to wear 12 layers of stuff, and I don't want to be cut off at the waist with compression pants that don't fit me right. So I am, as we're getting back into thinking about going into the workplace again, I'm redoing all of my outfits so that I just put on my compression in the morning. It's part of my outfit. It looks normal. It's a base layer. That's one thing. Wear compression. That's so important. And take a little bit of time, drink your water. We should be doing that anyway. And for me, like I actually wrote a blog post on legslikemine.com that says, I don't want lipedema to take over my whole life. And it's really true. Like, I just want to have a normal life. I want to be able to have 12 to 14 usable hours a day and feel good at the end of the day and not hurt. So that's, for me, that's my, if you're a person like me who's busy, you've got a job, this and that, just incorporate it into your daily life and do the best you can. Anything is better than nothing for sure.
Since so well said. And there's so many avenues available to connect, more so maybe even than when you began your lymphedema journey. So are there certain blogs that you
Yes.
follow? Are there different groups that you connect with that are helpful to you? And of course, we
Mhm.
want everybody to follow you at legs_like mine on Instagram. Any other
Mhm.
communities that you feel would be really helpful to our viewers?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I follow Lipedema Sisters USA on Facebook. That's a really active group. And then right now I'm on the Total Lipedema Care Facebook page, which I think Kara is one of the admins for. And that's a very small group of just a few hundred women who are going through the surgical process and stuff like that. I'm also a member of Global Lipedema pages on Facebook. And then there's a liposuction for lipedema Facebook page that I follow as well. And the way that I work my social media, Brenda, is when I first started doing Twitter, especially Twitter was my big thing. I would go in every single day, 2 or 3 times a day on my breaks at work, and I would search for lipedema. And then there's the European spelling of lipedema. It's got
Mhm.
an O in the middle of it,
Yeah.
right? And anytime that was mentioned, I would follow that person and I would try and comment so that we could make connections with people. And so it's not really a group on Facebook or on Twitter, but it's a network of people who use that hashtag, right? And I've made some really good connections with people. There's a lady named Sarah Bramblett who did a TED Talk. She's so courageous. I think you may have interviewed her before. I'm not sure.
She's on my
She did a
list
TED
that I
Talk.
want to interview.
Yes, and she actually has given me some pointers about like my videos and stuff like that, about like being a little bit more politically correct, more gender neutral, stuff like that that I never thought of, you know. But she's so smart, and she's getting ready to start her surgical journey after a massive battle of reducing her legs front with the getting the lymphedema down, and she's made such huge improvements. But she's so smart. So connecting with people like that by just using the hashtag, and on Instagram, oh my gosh. So I started with Twitter, right? And then I think I need to get on Instagram. Oh my gosh, girl, it's a whole different world. Like I'll put a post out there and in 5 minutes I'll have 100 likes. And I'm going to say 95% women who have lipedema and 5% creepers, which I
Well,
just block.
I love how you posted even in your bio, only message me about lipedema. I'm happily married.
Yes. Oh, so can I just tell you a funny story about this?
Yes, I
Because
love
this
funny
is there.
stories.
There are people in the world who have a fetish for ladies with large legs. You know, that's all I'm going to say. So on my surgery morning last week, I was laying in the pre-op room and just chatting with the girls as I chat with everyone, you know. And so they went out of the room for a second, and I made a little video of, they were playing some disco music, and I made a video of myself just being goofy with my surgical hat on and all that stuff. And I put it on Instagram. So they come back in the room, and my phone starts lighting up like somebody's trying to do a video chat with me. And it was one of those creepy creepers wanting to have a video chat with me while I was in pre-op. And
Not the
I was
right
just like,
time, and probably
uh,
never would be the right
never the
time.
right time, right? But I told the girls, I use different words that I'm not going to say on the interview, but I was like, oh, these guys, they're driving me crazy. But so for me, it's still worth it, because still today, I will have 1,000 messages from people needing help. And they ask me for everything. Can you help diagnose me? No, I'm a government employee. I do paperwork. No, but I can lead you to the right place, right? What did you do for insurance? What do you do for conservative? I mean, they ask me so many questions. And now what I've learned, what I can do is I write a blog post, or I do an Instagram video or a YouTube video, and I just send them back to the link. So I'm not answering the same questions by having to type it all the time, right? And if it helps one person and I have to weed through 5% creepers, totally worth it. Totally worth it.
I love your ability to find efficient ways to do things, to manage your condition, to respond to all these inquiries, your healthy outlook on life. And you're a powerful voice in the community that I am so honored to be able to meet. I've seen your name before, and we've been trying to connect for a really long time now. So I just
Mhm.
am thrilled that we had this interview. Any last words before we close it out?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I will say is it really is important for women to know you are not alone. And even though you feel like you may be the only person in the world who has this condition, you're not. And there are a lot of women out there that are willing to help you and guide you and get you to the right spot so that you can figure out the treatment that's right for yourself, right? Please don't please don't feel like you're alone. And I want to say one other thing, Brenda. 8% of women who have lipedema commit suicide. because they do feel so alone. I came across this statistic a couple of weeks ago, and it is so important. If you feel despondent and you need help, please reach out to someone. Even if it's an untrained person like me, we can find you help. It's just you need the support, and find someone that can help you and listen to you. Isn't that a shocking statistic? I see your face, but please reach out. You're not alone.
That is a very powerful and important message, a statistic that I want to dig into and learn more about,
Hmm.
because one of
Hmm.
the things that we are committed to at Lymphopress is letting people know that they matter and that we care. And so
Hmm.
thank you for sharing that. And I hope that we get to work with you more in the future. Susan O'Hara, Legs Like Mine, thank you for your story.
Thank you so much. It was so wonderful to get to spend some time with you.
I agree. And if anybody watching would like more information, or if you know of someone whose story deserves to be told, send me an email, bviola@medsoulsupplier.com. I would love to open up this platform to uplift the community, because that's what we're all about. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, Susan.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, Brenda.